Hey boy, what do we have here? It's Psychotech Labs. Okay, um, yeah, got boxes of parts, chassis, yeah. Friend of mine wants me to basically build him an 11-meter linear out of what he's got here, so. The band switch is broken, of course. Common problem with this and the SB220s. The band switch breaks. Yeah. So broken band switch. I got to gut all that out. We got to build a new input circuit. We have to build a new Pi network. That'll be loaded for 11 meters. Then we have to build a hardbox board and put that in. So basically when we're done, it's going to be pretty much a completely rebuilt amplifier. So what we're working with is an SB221. Yeah. So, I know you're all saying, oh my god, another fucking linear. Yeah, I don't mind. You know, does it get repetitive working on tons of linears? Not really. I like working on, tube linears. I do. So basically, there it is. I know everybody's like, where did you start? Well, we're gonna start by ripping a bunch of the guts out of it. So stay tuned for that. We'll be tearing a bunch of guts out. And then putting new guts in, and yeah, let's get on it. Why stand here pissing around when we could be tearing guts out, right? All right, Psychotech Labs. We'll be right back. Okay, look inside the SB221. Band switch is destroyed. Common problem. The ceramic wafer is completely broken. So, yeah, we're mono banding it. Okay. I know, right? We gotta rip out this band switch, and we gotta rip out some coils in there, and then we got to make a tuned input circuit, and we got to rebuild the Pi network as far as the tank coil assembly. So we'll be doing that. Okay, let's get to it. Psychotech Labs, man, we'll be back. Okay. So we're going to leave this wafer in. Let's make sure the wires aren't touching anything. It's all going to be unhooked from the, this is the input tune. Okay. So we got input and output wires here. We'll be removing those off what's left of the silicone wafer. Okay, next we need to isolate this coil from this coil. Nice autofocus. Alright, so this right here, I'm going to be removing that screw and cutting 2 wires off of it so that this is isolated. This here, this is the tap for 10 meters. Okay, it needs to hook up to the antenna load. Then the antenna load is your output. So the output of this antenna load, we have to make sure goes to the transmit receive relay, TR relay. So that's what we'll be doing next. We're going to leave this coil in. I do repairs, but I don't go OCD. And if someone ever did want to put this back to multi-band, pretty much all the parts will be there. They just have to replace the switch. So that's what we're going to do for now. Once we do that, hell, we'll be ready to roll. Before we put the hardbox board in, these caps here don't look like they're a leaking spooge. We're going to wire this to 110. I think I was told it already is, but I'm going to double check. Make sure it's wired for 110, put a 110 plug on it, and put tubes in it. See if we can get it to make some power. Once we get it up and running good, then we'll go ahead and put in the hardbox board. We got to build it too. Alright, rolling right along on this project. Psychotech Labs. We'll be right back. Okay, next we have to undo this strap, and right there's a wire, which would be the output. That's going down to that wafer. We didn't want that there. We're going to run a new output, so we got to get rid of that wire right there, and this strap here, we have to isolate it from that wafer down there. So 2 more things we got to do. Let's get ready to rumble. It's Psychotech Labs. Okay, we have removed the strap from the silicone, or from the ceramic wafer. Okay, and we removed that weak wire there from this tab here, pushed it out of the way. We removed these wires here and then remounted the tank coil to the this is like your 80 meter coil, and you know your lower frequencies. So this has been almost fully isolated except for the output. Right now the only thing that's hooked to the antenna load is the tank coil. So we also need to provide an output to the PR relay. So that's on the bottom side. We're going to have to do some messing around. So this is pretty much roughly the amount of turns that we need. So we can always expand or contract the coil to change the inductance of the circuit, and if we need to, we can always reposition the strap on here. So where did I learn to do this? I've been working on this stuff since the 70s. I built linears, and so yeah, just years and years of experience. Maybe other people do it different. This is how we're going to start out. So we're getting pretty close to having the tank coil and the whole Pi network on the output side done. Then we just got to do the input. Then we can test it. Oh boy, are you guys getting excited? I know I sure am. Stay tuned, we'll be right back. It's Psychotech Labs. Okay, here we are on the underside. These are those two pieces of coax that went up to the front part of the silicone wafer. So as you can see, one goes to the TR relay, and one goes to the input of the tubes right there. So basically this right here needs to connect to the antenna load. So that's what we got to do next. Go from the antenna load and connect to the TR relay. Alright, let's get on that. Okay, so when this was built, you know, it was all pieced together inside, and yeah, it was built in layers. So like, in order to take a lot of this stuff out, I'd have to tear a crap load of stuff out of here. Now I'm not OCD, so what we did, I cut off everything that was going from the wafer to that coil. This big wire here goes down to the ceramic wafer, and then another wire is soldered onto it on the bottom side, connecting out. So our output should now be connected to the transmit receive relay. So that's how we're going to do this for today. Getting close to dinner time. Y'all have a good one. We'll be back. Psychotech Labs. Welcome back to the continuing episodes of Psychotech Labs in the SB221 build. Okay, so found the capacitor, should be good enough. Coil there we can tap. So today we're going to solder the inputs and outputs to that Pi network there that we installed. Put a 110 volt plug on it, bring it up on the Variac, see what it does, and hell, we might even try to see if it makes power today. Let's see how far we get. Alright, let's get to cracking on this puppy. So when you're doing a project like this, it's all the little things you don't know that can cause a major fuck up. Okay, you see that right there. Those two things there, if they short out the ground, you shorted out your whole Pi network. So you always want to have a little nut in behind to space that out, so when you torque down the front one, you're not crushing these into the chassis and dead shorting the Pi network, which wouldn't do the tubes any good, or the finals of your radio or anything that's connected. In this case, you know, you're talking about the final input, or the finals from the output of, you know, your driver linear or your radio are going right into that. So you don't want her shorted. Okay, spacers installed. Now let's crank that sucker down. Oh, we got our wires soldered up. The input wire goes to the capacitor. The output goes out to the tubes, to the input of the tubes. That's right, inputs, outputs, input, output. All inputs connect to the innie, and all outputs connect to the outie. So, okay, I'm gonna finish that up. And we got other shit to do, so let's get her done. Alright, so we got the tubes popped back in. Safety interlock on these SB220s and 221s is a metal tab right there. It dead shorts the high voltage. That metal tab is depressed by this, so we got to put the top on, otherwise we'll have a dead short at the high voltage, which we don't want that. So yeah, we gotta go ahead and screw that top on for safety and to depress the safety interlock. Okay, gotta do that. You gotta wire on the 110 volt plug. It looks like it's wired for 110, and then hook it up to the variac, bring it to life. Stay tuned, we'll be right back. Oh, by the way, EMAC tubes, yeah, and they look like they're hardly used. The glass is not scorched or anything from them being overheated, so yeah, we're hoping those tubes are good. I'm sure they are. Alright, we'll be right back. Okay, we get the side cover tacked on there for safety. If one of those capacitors did blow, it's going to blow out the top, and it's going to want to shoot crap right at me if I'm over there on the variac. So we got the blast shields up, top on for safety, safety switch is tripped, the linear is on, variac is plugged in. It's showtime, boys and girls. Here we go. The little fan's turning. This is the part that always makes me nervous. Filaments are lighting in the tubes. Okay, so we're at 87 volts. $100. 120 volts. Oh shit. The plate voltage meter is messed up. The faceplate is warped and the needle's stuck. We'll have to try to take that apart. Yeah, so the high voltage meter is not working because the back plate is warped, so it's actually touching the meter. So we'll see if we can fix that. Hopefully we can. Okay. It's powered up. Cool beans, huh? No smoke, no fire. Yeah. We're gonna let that bleed off for a bit, and then we'll try to fix that meter. Kind of like to have that meter working, and then yeah, we'll go ahead and set it for an RF test here in a bit. So I'm gonna let that bleed off just for safety, and yeah, we'll get back to this in a few minutes. Try to fix the meter, and we're going to tickle it with a little bit of RF and see if we get some amplification. So we'll be hitting it with about 20 watts PEP, and see what the hell it does. Alright, we'll be back on the SB221 project. Psychotech Labs signing off for now. Okay, see that? The adhesive has separated. I'm looking at this other meter and I'm seeing something similar on that corner too. So yeah, we'll service those later. I want to see if this thing puts out power, so we don't really need the meters working. So after we do the power test, then we'll go ahead and we'll re-glue the backing plates on the meter. Alright, we'll be back. Okay, we're going to spank it with 10 watts swinging 20. I'm going to flip up to the 2000 watt scale. We have our meter to measure our standing wave for the input. These knobs have all been set so the fins on the variable air gaps are meshed 50%. So give it a second or two. Oh, she's keying. Audio. No power though. Audio. And we're getting some power. Hello. Hello. Standing waves a 1.6, 1.7. So yeah, that's doable. Anything under a 2. Audio. Audio. I'm getting about 250 watts with 20 watts in on PEP. So we have amplification. Not bad for a first attempt. You know, we just roughed in our Pi network and stuff. So yeah, we'll have to go through it and see where our fins are lining up on the air gap capacitors, and that'll give us some more information on our Pi network as far as if we need to change our inductance. So not bad for first attempt. We're going to let that high voltage bleed off again. and go drink a cup of tea while the voltage is bleeding off. And we'll pop that, pop the top, and take a look and see see where we're at on our Pi network. And then we're going to have to go ahead and spank it with more watts now. We'll hook up the little gray 150 and drive it with that. See how much more we get. 20 watts got me 250. So let's see what happens when we spank it with about 120 watts. Yeah, that's going to get exciting, huh? See ya. We'll be back. Okay. So we have the gray set up, and we're set up for 50 watt audio and 130 on the forward swing. So that's going to spank it pretty good. Boy, this meter's touchy. Hello. Whoa. Hello. A dust bunny or something in the antenna load, or no, that was the tune. Hello. Hello. Another spark there. We'll have to see what's going on. Yeah. But on the plus side, we were getting what was it? DZ1300 PEP. So, yeah, 1300 PEP. We've got a little sparking and arcing on the back side of our tune. So we'll have to see what's going on there. Could just be a dust bunny right in between the fins, but yeah, we don't want that. Our input standing wave was really low with that linear on. I dialed it in and it was under 1.5. But then again, I didn't readjust the standing wave meter. So, well, pretty much as far as what I did with the tank network, looks like my Pi network that I built for the input tunes working perfect. Running 130 watts into the input Pi network, I was able to get the standing wave under 1.5. So that'll make my friend happy. Yeah, that's all I'm going to do for it for today. We'll let it bleed up overnight, and yeah, go through and see where we're arcing at and fix that arcing, and then we can do some more tests. But damn, yeah, I'm happy with my input tune. Input tuning's working good. With the higher wattage, we got her dialed in, so standing weight was way low. Yeah, does this stuff make me nervous? Hell yeah, especially when you get in a little intermittent arcing and sparking going on. Apparently dust bunny or loose connection, so we'll get her figured out. We'll be back tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel. Psychotech Lab signing off for now. Alright. This is about as dangerous as it gets. Yeah. We need to run this thing with the safety off. I got the little GoPro over there filming one angle. It seemed to be right back in here where we were sparking and arcing. So I didn't see anything. I took the doorknob capacitor off. It looks fine. Everything looks tight and right. I blew out the variable air gap capacitor with some dust spray. Shit. I guess we're gonna have to turn it on and see if we see any more sparking. And hopefully, if it does, the camera, one of these cameras is going to catch it. So, whoa, I saw it. Yep, I saw that. Okay. So, yeah, we're arcing in the middle of the variable air gap capacitor. So, one of those fins must be misaligned. I looked and I didn't really see a problem. You know, we're going to let the voltage bleed off and come back and while the voltage is bleeding off, I'm going to review both these cameras and see exactly what they should, and then we're going to go in and service that variable air gap capacitor and make it so it doesn't do that, and then we'll be putting out full power. The world will be happy, I'll be happy, and we can go on to other parts of this project, like grounding the grids and building the hardbox board and blah 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 blah. So stay tuned for that. We'll be back. Alright, after reviewing the camera footage, it's in the definitely in the middle here between the 12th and 13th fin. Okay. Plan of attack. I don't really want to have to pull the whole thing out. We're going to pull this side off. That'll give us access to the side and the bottom of the air gap capacitor, and we should be able to service it, figure out what's going on from that point. It has to be a misaligned fin or some kind of contamination got in there. So let's get that pulling them screws out. But wait, we're going to make sure this fucker is discharged before we go doing that. So yeah. Put on our high voltage gloves, of course. And this thing here, it's not a high voltage meter anymore. I've got a big resistor in there so it can bleed off high voltage. So it's like we're bled off. Makes a good discharge tool too. Alright. I'm not going to bore you guys with watching me take out all them screws and taking the side panel off. So, let's take a quick pause for the cause. We'll be right back. Okay. Even more dangerous, even more exposed now. But what the hell, you know? You gotta do what you gotta do. So I've gone in there with my leaf blower and brushes and all sorts of stuff. I didn't really find anything. So we got the camera on a different viewing angle now. So hello, audio. 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 Huh? Looks like a dust bunny. Audio. So our input standing wave is let's recalibrate. Hello. Got a 1.3 on the input. Hello. Hello. Easy 1300. And we're not arcing, we're not sparking. Yay! Damn dust bunnies. Just look at all the trouble one stupid dust bunny caused. Okay, so yeah, we're easily getting 1300 out of it. So basically, I'm only pumping about 120, 130 into it. We're getting 1300 out. So we could spank it a little harder, but we're not going to. Yeah. So next, we put the side cover back on it. Well, first off, we're going to let it bleed off. I think we're done for the day. Yeah. Put the side cover back on. Put the top back on for safety. And then ground the grid, test it out one more time. And then ground the grids, retest. After that, hardbox board. And yeah, just then your project will be done. Should be all rebuilt, ready for action. Psychotech Labs, everybody. Stay tuned. We got more exciting, action-packed episodes coming up. Welcome back to Psychotech Labs. So yesterday we went ahead and serviced this air gap capacitor. Yeah, it seems like we had a little dust bunny cut since American and sparking in there and was stubborn and didn't want to evacuate between the fins, so got out our leaf blower and blew out everything, and there you go. No more sparking and arcing. So we're going to put the side cover back on. Then we're going to flip this sucker upside down. Going to ground the grids and go through a few things, and then run some more tests. If everything checks out good, then tomorrow we'll go ahead and we got some Harbach parts to put in there, so we'll be doing that. Alright, let's get to putting that side cover back on. We'll be right back. Okay, we got these chokes, they're out of here. Got some of these little capacitors, they're out of here. And we're going to tie these 3 pins together and we're going to short it to ground. A little grounding tab over here we can use, a little grounding tab over here we can use. Now, straps versus wire. Okay, well, I don't know, man. I don't really have any copper straps, and I'm not going to wait around to go get some. I mean, we got some copper wire. That's what we're going to use. Yep. I know some of you guys are going to go, oh, you got to use straps, you can't use copper wire. Yes, you can. People have been doing it for thousands of years. Doesn't cause an issue, doesn't cause a problem. Just got to make sure you use some fairly decent size, gauge size on the copper wire. So, let's get out the wire cutters, cut out all these little parts, and yeah, yep, cut this stuff out. This you don't mess with right here, the input for the filament. So let's get her done. Okay, so get these parts cut out, ready to solder. Now the question is, should we pull the tubes or not? I'm going to be throwing a ton of heat to this to get a good flow on the solder. Right there, you can see these are soldered. Got solder right there. So I'm pulling the tubes because I don't want to take a chance on melting the solder in the tube sockets, or I mean in the tubes. So let's pull the tubes out and we'll be right back. Okay, so big heavy duty wire. We're double grounded. We're grounded to the chassis through two spots on both sides. So, yep. Now I am sure there's going to be that one guy that's going to say, that's not correct. It's not how you should do it. Well, hey, that's how I did it. And guess what? It's gonna work. You just watch. And it'll last forever. Yeah. So, grids are grounded. we're not going to test it today. It's getting late. That actually took a long time to get that all done. I was kind of surprised how long it took, actually. So yep, there we go. we're good to go, and yeah, let's bag it for the day, and we'll flip it over tomorrow and test it. I got an electrolytic capacitor over here. While I'm in there, I'm going to go ahead and replace, and then yeah, that'd be it. We be done with the RF part of this project. After that, then we're gonna go through, double check all our solder connections, and then we're gonna build the hardbox stuff and pull out all the old parts and put in new parts. Yay! So stay tuned for that. We'll be back. Alright, welcome back to Psychotech Labs. Remember yesterday, the grids for these tubes were back talking me, and like any good parent, they grounded their ass. That's right. Those grids are now grounded. Grounded the shit out of the grids. And we replace that cap right there. And then we're going to flip it over with the top on it, and we are going to yeah, basically turn it on, warm it up for about a second, and make sure we're still putting that power. No reason we shouldn't be. Alright, we'll be right back. Set up for a power test. Alright, we're ready. Well, hello. Hello. Audio. Well, now we're up to 1400. Hello. Audio. Huh. It's weird, our input tuning is a little higher, but we're putting in more power. Audio. Easy 1400. Hello. Audio. Okay. See if we bump something, and that's cause our input tuning to go up a little bit. We're under a 2, but yeah, I'd like to see that lower. So grids are grounded, and yeah, we picked up 100 watts. Yay! Alright, so we're going to let that sit And believe it or not, we're going to actually go work on one of our stations. Yeah. AM regulator in my Cobra 2000 is starting to go bad, so my key down time is like dropping off. So we're going to go pull that out of service, throw it up on my other tech bench in the radio room, and swap that out. Got the voltage bleed off on that. Got a little trimming to do on the input tune. We'll get that dialed in. But yeah, we definitely want to wait for the voltage to bleed off. Alright, Psychotech Labs. That's what happens when your grids start back talking. You ground those damn grids, man. Don't put up with that shit. We'll be back in a bit. See ya. Welcome back to Psychotech Labs. Alright, on today's action-packed episode, we're going to do more follow-up on the Heatkit SB221 build that we're doing. We're literally basically using an SB221 chassis and building a monobanded linear out of it since the band switch was broke. So, have you ever said to yourself, I wish my wire cutters were just a little bit longer? Oh yeah. Oh, I've said that many a time, especially on that project there. I'm not tearing a whole bunch of crap apart just to get the one stupid little thing. Alright, so repair shops, you're constantly buying always some piece of equipment that you need, always some specialty tool. So, yep, today we're going to work on the input tune, and we're going to get the standing wave as low as we can on the input tuning. It's variable input tuning, but yeah, after I put the ground strap, grounded the grids on the tubes, my standing wave is a little bit higher now on the input tune, so we'll see if we can get that lower, and we'll be back. Yeah. Okay, so I went ahead and I spread the coil on my input tune. That'll reduce the inductance, and then we're going to tune it. We're going to watch our standing wave on our input and see what it does. Showing a 1.4 now. Actually about a 1.5-ish. Okay. We'll let that voltage bleed off for a bit, and we'll play around with that, see if we can get it lower. Yeah, I think we're going to stretch the coil out a little more and see what it does. So stay tuned for that. We'll be back after we bleed off some voltage. Okay, stretch the coils a little more, and let's see what that gives us. the same. Yeah, about the same. So next, after the voltage bleeds off, we are going to squish the coils together and see what our standing wave is. So that'll tell us if we need more inductance or less inductance. So wait a bit for the voltage to bleed off, eh? Okay, we trimmed a little excess off that coil. It wasn't doing nothing. In theory it wouldn't have been. Just to tidy it up. And we squished the coil together. Let's see what we're getting now. So 1/8, so it's gone up. Okay, so that tells us less inductance. Okay, now more of the ritualistic waiting for the voltage to bleed off before we crack the case. Yeah, I know, right? It's like sweet Hannah with a banana. So I'm gonna go get something to drink and chill in the house here for a bit. Let that bleed off. Psychotech Labs will be right back after these brief messages from sponsors we don't even have. Alright, we've done in there, we spread the coil. Now let's see what our input standing wave is. Lower. Audio. Okay, that's a 1/4. We'll go ahead and let that bleed off. And see about spreading that coil just a hair more. I mean, shit. 1/5 is plenty good, but I know my friend, he'll go all OCD if he can't dial it way under 1/5, so let's do what we can to make him happy. We'll be back. Okay, I went ahead and took the whole faceplate off and re-tapped the coil on there for the input pin. So let's see what it is now. Got a 1/4. Audio. Audio. Yeah, almost a 1.5. Audio. Yeah, we'll have to see if we can get it a little better. Now that I've recapped that coil a little bit, maybe we can squeeze the coil together now. I add a little inductance, so just gotta fondle it and play around with it gently. I mean, normally I'd call it good at 1.4, 1.5, but like I said, my friend's picky, so might as well see if we can get her flatter. We'll be back. Okay, so today we're going to finish up the input tune. It changed when I grounded the grid, so having to redo it. I think we're pretty much tuned on the inductance portion of the Pi network, but as you can see, these fins are totally meshed together. Now, if you remember from some of my other videos, that means we need to add more capacitance to the circuit. We're not going to change this part. We're going to add a trimmer capacitor. It's what the ham linears do anyway. So we'll add this to the circuit. We're going to install this with its plates fully meshed, and then that should allow us to center this up so that the fins are basically halfway meshed. That gives you a full range of tuning. Okay, we'll be back in a bit. Okay, we've added the trimmer capacitor to the circuit. Last night we glued the backing plate back on the meter there. Now our voltmeter is working. Yeah. Audio. Audio. So 1.3. Hello. That's a 1.3. We are going to call that good. Good enough for the girls we go out with anyway. Alright. So meters are fixed. Hello. 1450 watts with 50-watt dead key. Audio. 115 PEP. So just shy of 1500 with 115 watts in on PEP. Cool beans, huh? Well, next. That's right. But wait, there's more. We're not done building this sucker yet. We're building a whole new linear, so let's see what other new stuff we have. Ooh, circuit board. Ooh. Capacitors. Ooh, bleeder resistors. That's next. Building the hardbox board. Didn't get the metering board though. Oh well. No big deal. Building the metering board would have taken quite a bit of time. So we're going to build the hardbox board in the house, in my radio room. That's where we have Psychotech Labs Advanced Research Division. It's also where I have my best soldering station too. Alright. Damn. 1.3 on the input. I'm calling that good. Yeah. Not much more to say about that. Let's get the hardbox board built, installed, and wrap this project up. Psychotech Labs will be back after these brief messages from sponsors I don't even have. Okay, we're getting all set up here to build a new capacitance bank for the SB221 project. It's a hardbox board. He did not order, apparently, the metering board, which has the high voltage diode upgrade and some other upgrades. So he supposedly overnighted that. So should have that board in a day or two. Then we could build out and install that too. Then basically it's going to be a completely new linear, re-engineered, redesigned by Psychotech Labs. Yeah, let's get to jamming and soldering. Yeah, soldering station, good. Alright, we'll be back. Okay, new capacitance bank is built. All soldered up. Cappies are mounted and soldered. So it's all ready to mount in the linear I'm building for tomorrow. So, yep, the SB221 project. Alright. Well, stay tuned for tomorrow. We'll install it. Get you later. Welcome back to Psychotech Labs. Well, this project got put on hold for a while. So we built the hardbox capacitance bank. He didn't order the diode board, which is part of the metering board, so we had to wait for that. It came pre-assembled. I built that. So today we're going to start putting some stuff in. So get ready for action with Psychotech Labs. Okay, so we got the metal shroud off. Get unsoldered 3 wires.
and then pull the capacitance bank out. We got the metering board unbolted. So let's get to doing it. Okay, so keyboard soldered in. That diode right there is no longer used in the circuit. It's null and void. So basically put the outer shielding on, bolt the board up, connect the high voltage, and she's done. Just like that on Psychotech Labs. Alright, we'll be back. Okay, so basically we'll be bringing it up on the Variac tomorrow. Pass this Variac test. We'll run one more RF power test through it, and if that holds up, then we're done with the building a monoband 11 meter linear. Yeah, for experimental purposes. Yeah. Run only through a dummy load, like we do here at Psychotech Labs. Okay, now it's time for the star of the show, Mr. Variac. Yay! Let's get it plugged in. It's off there. Okay, linear's on. God, please let this work. Keep me safe. Voltage is coming up on the front of the unit. Fan starting to turn. So far, so good. $100 and we're seeing 2.5 kilovolts, it looks like. Still going up on the high voltage. Okay, 120 volts, 3000 on the plate voltage. Thank you, God. Thank you, thank you. All right. So, nothing left except to test it for RF. So, I'm going to plug in our water-cooled dummy load and rig up the driver linear and all that. We'll be back. Okay, let's power it up. We have a driver linear hooked up to it. We're on high power on the linear. Already checked the pass-through, it's working. Hello. Audio. 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 1400. Try Gotta get this stupid standing wheel set. Audio. Okay, I'm showing audio at 1.6. Audio 1400. Audio. I'd say that's a win. I'll say that's good enough. Yeah, 1.6 is fine on the input. He's only going to be running like 150, 160 watts into it, so that should be plenty. Okay. Well, the SB221 build is done. Started out with a SB221 chassis, and we've gone through, monobanded it, rebuilt it, put the adjustable input circuit in it. We're done. It's Psychotech Labs. Thanks for watching my videos. Y'all have a good day. See ya.